should be fun!
Family don't end with blood.
I regret this already.
Hello? Not an idiot. See ya!
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Give him the bits!
The bits! The bits!
The things I do for love.
I will never, ever turn my back on people who need me. Cartoons.
Hey, I'm Michael Block from the Republic. I'm doing a story about your mom.
My mother wasn't very good at love. What if I'm just like her?
In love, don't get involved too quickly.
Said don't get involved.
Okay. First of all, I don't sound like a mad scientist, right? That's not how I talk.
What was it like? Felt like we'd kissed before.
This episode features themes of nothing. I guess they mentioned death. That's it, though. Have fun. Talk about in the podcast.
Yeah, well...
Welcome back!
Welcome back.
Welcome back, you guys.
So why should I watch that? I'm Myra.
I'm Sam.
I have coffee.
Yes,
I'm
I
out
do.
of coffee. Oh, no.
How was the hot one? Better?
With, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me get my blended bitch drink.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I like the blended ones. I tried just their plain coffee because I was running late for work and I needed caffeine.
Ugh.
Sorry, it's my foot.
Plain coffee is so hard to do, like, correctly at an establishment.
Yeah, that's fair.
All of Starbucks taste like shit.
That's
I
because they
said what I
over-roast
said.
their beans.
They don't.
What do they do wrong?
They
'Cause
burn it.
That's over roasting.
No, they don't. It gets burnt when it's in the urn.
Oh.
When it's,
Is that why it tastes over-roasted?
if you take it home and make it in something else, it actually tastes correct and good. But when you buy it at the store, it tastes like vomit.
Okay.
I said what I said. Come for me. Fight me.
No.
No, we don't want...
That's why I don't get black coffee from Starbucks.
Well, I made the mistake of doing that to scooters.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But you know what? The one I got today was really good. So I'm gonna get lattes from now on.
It's full of sugar.
That
and
too.
espresso. So actually, try an Americano next time.
Okay.
Same concept, different coffee, different machine.
I will try that.
So anyway,
happy no, it's early Valentine's Day.
Happy
'cause
disgusting heart day, you fucking daters.
Yeah, we're all single. Can you tell?
Do you like how I said daters instead of haters?
I'm still thirsty. I can't say shit.
yeah, we keep telling you need to do something about that.
Well, I'm actually gonna start going on dating sites.
Let us know if and when you ever acquire a date.
Oh
and
no,
what
you
you're
guys, you
wearing.
guys
Spot
are
up.
no, you guys are vibe checking all the pictures and profiles before I say
Okay, thank
yes.
Yeah. I'm on one. I get on like once a month, try to do the thing, have a panic issue, and then don't do it anymore until another month has passed.
You know what I just thought about we should have done for this episode?
Uh,
Just judged freaking dating sites.
that would have been fun.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
It's my fault this episode is not... Bless you.
so this week we are discussing the photograph.
Yeah. You can call it discussing.
I just realized we had so many options and I fucked them all up.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried to-
I'm taking the hit for that one.
Last week I was like, hey, do we maybe want to like switch? And I gotta know.
No, you gotta... Yeah, but I don't know what, and then you gotta...
No, I was giving options, and both of you were like,
I was so tired at that point. I'm sorry. My brain was not on functionality
I was
mode.
sus. I was sus as fuck of this movie.
No, you were giving options, and my body went depression.
We had also just eaten like a fuck ton of food, so like...
I mean, had we? Alright, so yeah, we're watching The Photograph. It's about some people. They fall in love.
Would you like
Do
to
they?
pull up the thing?
Yeah, they fall in something.
They fall into convenience, perhaps?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what the hell you would call
I
it.
wouldn't call that love.
I'm just gonna preface this with Jay might be really quiet this episode because You ever, as a neurodivergent person, tried really, really hard to invest yourself into something you have, like, negative fucks about? That was me about, like, 6 minutes into this movie. I was like, wow, this is really not going to pick up, and it's just going to be these people idly dancing around each other until they get less bored. Okay. Cool. I tried so hard to watch it. I restarted it once, and then Myra was watching it when I got here, and I said I wasn't going to watch it, but I made a conscious effort to try for the first, like, 10 minutes I was here, and then I went, nope. My brain is saying no on so many levels, so I'm here.
So if you want to read...
I will. Do we want to just start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to do first
Oh,
impressions?
first impressions. Cause
yeah, that's what I thought we did.
Yeah. So that was yours. So I hadn't seen the movie either. I picked it. So technically, I got to pick this week's, and it was a bad. What? Not my best pick. I will admit it. Because what I had heard from the movie from what I got from it were two completely different things. I had heard it was a really good romance film. It had a lot of depth in it and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, this should be a good film, especially with this episode coming out right before Valentine's Day. If there's a lot of depth and understanding and...
Nuance,
Romance.
perhaps?
yeah.
Nuance, romance. The
Yeah.
whole shebang.
The shebang, this would be a good film because I know Jay doesn't like romance, but I was hoping it had enough of something. It was... What I got was not what I was expecting. I got a film... I'm not going to say the film was bad. The story... The story just felt boring. Like, it didn't capture me how I would hope it would. I'm done.
So, for me, I had really no impressions going in. I hadn't heard of it before Myra had brought it up. I knew it was a romance. I expected there to be some kind of plot. Generally, I don't really go for, like, standard romances because they tend to be boring. Because it's mostly, I can't tell them this. Why not? I can't. And that's what we got, except there was not even drama to be like, you dumb bitch. There wasn't even. Anyway, we'll get into it. I was not overly impressed.
Alright, so Jay, if you'll do us the honor of reading the
one sentence synopsis?
Yep.
Sure. It's, yeah.
Shit.
Alright. A picture from her late mother's past sends a young woman on a search for answers and into an unexpected love affair. My job is now done.
Excellent. So it is directed by Stella Maggie? It is directed by Stella Maggie, produced by James Lopez.
Sorry.
Can you not hit the table?
I tried not to.
Produced by James Lopez, Will Packer, written by Stella Maggie, starring Issa Rae.
Are you Issa Rae? Who wants to know?
Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield. Music by Robert Glasper. Cinematography by Mark Schwartzbard. That's a strange last name. Edited by Shannon Baker Davis. Production company was Will Packer Productions and Perfect World Productions. Distributed by Universal Pictures, sorry. Released on February 14th, 2020. That is incorrect. It's not. Oh, well, maybe it's. Did HBO do an early release? Because it's the 6th. I don't know. Anyway.
It's the 21st.
It's released
We're in 2021, Sam.
Liar? I'm sorry, I'm having an existential crisis. Released February 14th, 2020. Runtime is 106 minutes. Its budget. Why is there a dash?
For the budget?
Yeah, the budget says 16 to 27.7
Because
million.
they probably started at 16 and increased the budget.
Oh. Well, the box office, it didn't do well in box office because it only made back 20.7 million. They lost money on this film. So,
Damn.
Well, I think this is the first movie we've reviewed that lost money.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think all of them either, like, met or went above.
Yeah, they either matched their budget or at least made some profit.
Yeah, because Road to El Dorado made good
Millions.
profit. You made my arm itchy.
Did you do the, like...
Yes.
It's right here, and I don't know if somebody updated the Wikipedia.
I think
movie
it doesn't
page?
do it for shows. That's where you get That's where you get confused.
Movie times is there, and we've been doing a lot of movies recently.
Yeah, it's the first film that we've actually reviewed that's lost money.
Ooh.
Sorry, I just wanted to
Go
rotate
ahead.
back.
In the box offices, which is, but you know what? I might give it the fact that this was in theaters, but then COVID hit right after it came out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even necessarily say right after. February is when we started starting to take it seriously.
Yeah, because I got back from California right after my brother's wedding, and people were already being kind of sus. We already had that. Was after,
that's when I was poking fun at you and saying you had it.
Yeah, because I had what I assumed to be travel flu. Might have been COVID. Who knows?
Yeah, because she was really. You don't remember she got really sick right after she got back from her brother's wedding
In California.
And I the whole time, because I was driving you back and forth for D&D at the time, I was making fun of you. I was like, look, you stay in that corner of the car because I think you got COVID. And she's like, shut up, Myra. No, I don't. And I was like, you just came back from California.
And you were in the airport and like all this other stuff, and we had all. I don't know. We didn't know how bad it was at the time. It was February of 2020.
Yeah, and then March hit, and everybody went, stay home.
Well, every respectable, sane person said stay home.
Dude, I stayed home.
Isn't it weird that we didn't have a president for that entire time?
I know. It's like America didn't have a president for a whole year.
Oh, just
A year?
Just a year, perhaps.
Oh, I just figured we skipped this entire quarter of the
Yeah,
year.
I thought
This
for
is just a
sure.
break for the government.
Yep, as far as Easter eggs or fun facts, I unfortunately don't have any. I don't even, like, have fun facts of where it was filmed or anything. It's like, there's...
I think this is one of the first ones we've also done that has next to no lore.
That's
it's just
fair.
some normal people doing normal stuff. So there's not really anything for us to really look further into. It's not like a nerd thing where they've like hidden stuff, or a history thing where they've got nuggets. It's basically a Hallmark movie. It's just
It literally is.
Yeah,
This could have... I respect it because it is mostly, I think it was produced and written by,
Well, let's take the hyperlinks for a spin. Sir, why don't you have a Wikipedia photo?
because they're not cool.
They are not popular enough to have a Wikipedia photo. So that's a black man.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, it was produced and written by,
Black woman.
written by a black woman, produced by a black man.
At least one black man.
I think the other one is Hispanic.
Well, with a name like Lopez, I would assume so.
So it is produced and written by
He might be Afro-Latino.
yeah. But still, I mean, that's still a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because for a film that feels like a Hallmark film, most Hallmark films are
The same lady and the same dude falling in love over the same circumstances over and over.
But what I'm saying, they're mostly produced by white people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're produced by the exact same people every time, and it's typically a white dude and all of his friends trying to show off how the working girl shouldn't be working.
Wait, he produced Little? Huh. We should have done that one.
I'm dying.
There were so many more we could have done. I'm sorry.
I suggested Dope, but nobody paid attention to that message.
I don't care. I just thought that this wouldn't be a good fit. I listened to everything and said meh, because I didn't think this would be good.
I made a mistake. This is a film that was produced and written, and I think most of the cast, pretty much all most of the cast is.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing the only when
she's going in for
boss.
the interview.
Yeah,
And
the boss
and the people that do the interview.
Yeah.
But everybody else is black.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge thing because unfortunately in the film industry this doesn't happen a lot.
Your frame is crooked today.
It's always been crooked.
It's always been crooked.
Is it extra crooked?
I always look at it. It's always crooked.
Okay. Sorry. So themes this week are personal identity, the legacy we have, are we doomed, like the whole, are we doomed to become our parents and repeat their mistakes? So this narrative structure is a parallel storyline. We see May and her mom, Christina, and their lives parallel each other in a very similar way, and their love lives parallel each other in a similar way. But it's the way the parallel works is that May ends up being more, at least narratively, paralleled with her biological father versus what's his name? The male lead, Christian? Michael?
Her dad or her boyfriend?
Her boyfriend.
Yeah, Michael.
What is his Wikipedia photo?
Dude, I don't know, but what is he wearing?
What are you wearing, sir? Is
that fashion? Is
it some sci-fi bullshit?
I don't know. Has he done sci-fi? Oh, he's done a lot.
Get out.
Atlanta.
He was in Knives Out? Oh, he was in Knives Out.
I haven't seen Knives Out.
It's a good film. He's in BoJack.
Oh, he's in the new Judas and the Black Messiah. That one hasn't come out yet, so.
Sorry.
That looks like it was at a con, though.
Yeah. So maybe it's.
It was at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's a Comic-Con. What the fuck is he in to be at Comic-Con?
Yeah, what was he in to be in Comic-Con?
He's in BoJack Horseman.
Who does he play?
Hold on. Guy.
He's just the guy?
He's a voice. He's
Hold
a
on.
guy for 7 episodes.
It's oh shit. Okay, I remember now. Yeah, Diane marries Guy later at the end of the show. Okay.
Is that the guy who...
The big buffalo.
Oh, no. I didn't see that.
Yeah, you stopped watching after a little bit, didn't you?
I stopped after the third season.
Yeah.
So so he apparently has some stuff.
He was in Dope.
I don't
We just watched the wrong movie from him.
Yeah, clearly not the greatest. I mean, the acting wasn't bad.
Yeah, no, nothing against the actors.
I just feel like the direction was lacking. The the script was lacking.
Yeah, because I don't even know if it was necessarily the direction. The actors and the directors did a pretty good job making the entire thing feel as good as it could.
Yeah.
But the strict constraints that the script had them doing, there's a point. They did so good with the cinematography and the background stuff and the outfits they all wear.
Mm-hmm.
They all feel like real people. They all feel, before you get into the words they say, they all feel like real people with real wants and needs, and everything is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start giving them lines, and the lines are so robotically formulaic that it's just Hallmark.
Yeah. It's... yeah.
There's a specific scene when the main girl is talking to another girl, and it's literally just, oh my god, he called me after we kissed. Oh, are you gonna go for that? Yeah, he called me. So, and it's like, it's something that would only exist in a film, and it kind of takes you out of this beautiful world they filmed. It was inspired by a true story.
Okay. So, the narrative structure and the formula kind of felt like it was based on a romantic novel. One of those cheesy cover romance books. But apparently it was based off of a true story.
It was inspired by a true story.
Inspired by a true
There's a big difference.
Okay.
Based on means we took that story and built on it, and inspired means we saw that and kind of liked it. The live action Avatar is inspired by Avatar.
Mm.
Some of the components are there. Most of them aren't.
Wait. What? Sorry, I got a text from my boss, and I am
Sugar?
confused.
Okay.
The Korean food attacked me. That or the coffee. Or both.
Or both.
Or both. We didn't get you skim milk this time, so...
Oh, yeah, that's probably it.
Or...
I forgot to ask for almond milk.
Ah, shit. I usually remind you.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably it. Probably. Which means I'll probably run again. Sorry, guys.
That's fine. I've been running out for the nose thing.
So, what were we talking about?
We found out that the movie is actually inspired off of a true story.
Oh!
I also found out that it was filmed in New York.
Oh.
So, which is weird because it feels like it was filmed in
Not
Georgia.
New York. Yeah.
Throughout the entire movie, no less.
Yeah, for wherever they are, it doesn't feel like the location they're supposed to be. 'Cause, straight up, I'm watching this and I'm like, are they supposed to be in New York? 'Cause this kind of feels like either the main city Atlanta or, main city, New Orleans.
I know up north does get hurricanes, right? But
Some, but,
this...
They make an offhanded comment about Hurricane Irene, and Hurricane Irene was one of the worst hurricanes to hit until Sandy, and they're like, oh, it won't be bad. My town lost power for 5 days after Irene, so, I don't know. Maybe it hit New York different, but whoever wrote this script didn't do their research.
But they really didn't even,
Because I'm not going to lie to you, New York and New Jersey's power grid fucking sucks. I mean, Georgia's is marginally better, but,
That's saying something.
That is saying something.
New Jersey's power grid system hasn't been updated since, the 80s. Which, saying that now is, That's 40 years.
So yeah.
But yeah, I'm not super impressed with the research they did.
As I don't know where we left off when I ran off, so I'm sorry.
No,
so
you're
I don't
good.
know what we were talking about.
No, it's just,
Bless you.
Excuse me.
I've spread it. God damn it. You're allergic to your dogs now. I'm sorry.
Don't say that, because he sleeps in my bed.
Yeah, bad news. Bad news.
we were just talking about the, the narrative structure and how her story runs parallel, and,
And
how we weren't super impressed with the actual plot and how the script itself feels shallow and hallmarky.
Yeah, no, and I would say I agree with you that it runs parallel to her biological father, because I don't know. I wouldn't even say it runs parallel to her parents, because
So it's not a direct parallel. It's a narrative parallel, which is slightly different.
I don't know what that means.
So for a narrative parallel, it doesn't have to be like verbatim. It just has to mirror the B plot, essentially. So in
Think how in Avatar: The Last Airbender, Zuko grows as Aang does, and it's
Oh,
in
okay.
completely different ways, but they are still growing in narratively similar ways. They have to grow up, learn things about themselves, come to terms with some things,
Okay,
and learn how to function in their new lives.
That makes more sense to me now.
Correct?
Yes. So how in the B plot and her mom's plot and the
Would her mom's plot be B plot or hers? Because I feel like,
and that's a valid point.
because I feel like the mom, that we open up with the mom, we open up with him finding her biological father, with Michael finding her biological father. We know close to nothing about her daughter. All we know is she has a kid, because she says it in the interview.
Which is why Michael is the narrative parallel for the mom, and May is the narrative parallel for the dad. Because May is the one who gets left behind by the film, and her biological dad is...
Okay, and I can see that, because she even says that she should have told him to stay, and that's the same thing that her dad should have said to her mom.
Yeah. So spoiler alert. I mean, if you're here, you know the drill.
I mean, we spoil everything.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember in episode 1 where I had like a spoiler marker, and it was literally just when we started the show?
The father she grew up with isn't her biological dad, and due to a series of unfortunate events, the biological father gets left behind in Louisiana.
I actually quite like the fact that we did not get a feel of something that we get in a lot of
Do you want to fill it?
what is it?
Yeah.
What was that? What's the term I'm trying to use?
Cliche?
The cliche we get in films that portray black people, which is the father is absent in a child's life
By a conscious choice.
by a conscious choice.
Yes.
And it's and even that, growing up, she actually mentions the fact that the person that was there for her to make her lunches and noticed that she was smoking weed and doing stuff like that was her father, the person that she thought was her father, which I think that's a great thing to show that it's not always
that's one of the first scenes we see with both May and her dad, because she has like a work scene, and then immediately she's having coffee on a bench with her dad, and he's all like, I wish she's making some comment about how she wished she knew how to be closer to her mom while she was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he's all like, yeah, well, she was a difficult lady who didn't know how to
Show emotion.
show affection. And she was like, she didn't even notice when I smoked weed. And he was like, I did.
And you didn't say anything, Dad?
You were
Why?
stealing it from your mom. Like,
The fuck am I supposed to say in this scenario? It's okay for her, but not you?
and
It's an impossible thing to preach for any parent.
And she goes, oh. And he's all like, your mom may not have been perfect, but you know, I loved you and she did love you in the best way she could. And she's like, well, you packed my lunches, so I like you better.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And which is fair. I mean, like,
God, yeah.
He was there. He was there
emotionally for her.
emotionally, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit, this film does do good on showing different aspects of things that media usually does not show.
Yeah.
And I think part of that definitely comes down to who wrote it, because the fact that we always see these stereotypes is it's because the people who make the stereotypes are the ones behind the camera.
Right.
It doesn't matter what you want to do as an actor. If someone is casting for a thug and they're looking for a specific skin tone to depict that thug, they're always going to pick what they see. But since we're getting more people behind the cameras that grew up as people of color in communities that are obviously filled with other people of color, we get to finally, like,
Hear their stories.
we get to hear their stories on the big screen in a way that is not overgeneralized by Hollywood.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
it's much more authentic.
Uh-huh.
And usually with these kind of romances, especially targeted towards a black audience, the male lead tends to be more of this, you know,
Player kind of thing.
yeah, rambunctious player, doesn't really have a whole lot of respect, has to get tamed or whatever. And in this one, he's just kind of
There.
having
He's kind of a lost puppy.
yeah, having
Yeah.
an ambient identity crisis.
Okay, I love my brother, but we paralleled him to my brother at the moment of his breakup.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Because he had that same existential crisis of, oh my god, I need to get away. And this girl lived in Louisiana and the dude lives in New York. So, you know, love my brother. He did need to get away, though. He really did need a new start, a new everything. And he's doing wonderful, which is great.
And that's valid, because
There are people that just need that. They need...
there's too many emotional memories connected to one spot.
Yeah. So, to see someone, particularly in a male role, be that vulnerable
Yes.
is interesting.
Yeah.
I will say that. He has a lot of... Well, okay, so yes,
In that point, he's vulnerable.
So he does show an element of vulnerability that is not usually attributed to any male character, especially a person of color. But he's also, like, hella toxic in some elements, because, like...
Oh, no. I'm not giving him,
Yeah,
like,
this is-
I'm not saying
yeah.
he's perfect.
Okay,
or
okay.
that he's a perfect man for showing vulnerability. This man is very toxic. He does show his toxicity,
Okay.
but I think it's interesting that they did allow you to see a side of vulnerability that you're like, I can sort of understand why you're toxic, but it's still not good that you're toxic.
Yeah, I think even people who don't necessarily have, like, wanderlust from trauma, like, still feel sometimes that they need to get away.
Yeah.
That's when you have people going on vacation sporadically. Like, the need to escape, to change your scenery and fix things. Are you okay?
Yes.
Why did you lean into the mic to do that?
I don't know.
Because you straight up went, you were here and go,
I can't cut that, so it's here to stay.
My brain is slowly dying right now. I don't.
Pass this coffee.
Are you sure?
No, actually. I this is mine.
I mean, we don't live here, so you do. Hey guys, welcome to the mid-roll. Sorry for not doing this last week. I had a really bad cold, and also Sam and I switched jobs, and I completely forgot that that was part of my job, is to do a mid-roll. Or maybe Sam did it. I don't know. I didn't listen to the fucking episode, so let me know how she did, because I think she did good, but I have no proof. I'm teasing. She did awesome. We kind of fell off the bandwagon with hints again. Sorry. We're trying to get into a groove, and it is not playing to our strengths as three people who work full-time jobs and do this for fun. It's just kind of hard to get in the habit of, and we are on the struggle bus. But for all of you who've been sticking around, thank you very much. Last week was the first week that we put out a Rotten Tomatoes specific episode. So if you listened to that and liked it, please let us know on one of our socials. Just throw us a tweet and be like, hey, that was not as bad as I expected. Or, hey, no, maybe do this. And we'll take those things into consideration, because if we have people listening, we want to make sure they're having a good time. And you guys are important to us. Anyway, not much to add to this episode. I'm on the socials, and I don't see a hint for last week, so no one wins again. But there is a hint at the end of every episode, so you don't have to respond to the one that's on the internet. You can also respond to the ones at the end of the episode. Socials are some version of wsiwtpodcast on basically every platform. Yeah, send us a something if you're bored. I'm pretty sure that's all I had for you guys today. Sorry in advance for this week and probably next week. I'm in the process of getting allergy shots, and I just found out that I'm supposed to be taking double the allergy medicine on allergy shot days, and I've been getting constant nose problems because of it, and body aches, and I don't sound great. But I promise I'm not dying. It's not COVID. It's just fucking body don't work. All right. Y'all have fun. Happy fucking Hearts Day, I guess, if you celebrate that. And if you're one of the cool kids who doesn't celebrate whatever the fuck, happy Singles Awareness Day. We see you. Have fun.
Where were we?
So I think it's good that they did the vulnerability thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that they...
I'll say this, oh, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, go.
No, it's fine. I like the fact that they did do him vulnerable. I loved his brother's family.
Oh my
his
God,
brother's
yeah.
family
Brother
was
has
great.
so many rights. I love him so much.
Why does Hollywood demand writing such bomb-ass background characters and then such weak ass forefront characters?
Yes, because
I would have loved to see a romance movie of them, or even just
exploring their entire marriage, because they have some issues.
Yeah, I mean,
that the
they
film
even
just kind of taps on.
They admit to that.
The wife straight up is like, "Oh, if it weren't for streaming movies, we would be divorced."
And he goes,
"What?" And she's like, "No, baby, it's totally fine. It's a joke."
And he's just like, "I am so sus right now.
This
Someone
does not-
play the music."
Oh.
And their
Sorry.
kids are adorable and way smarter than they realize.
the kids totally throw the uncle under the bus, and
Also,
I loved
they were
it.
such good child actors. That was believably childish while also delivering lines correctly.
Yes.
That's very hard to find in kids.
Especially kids that age.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the kids were aged around 5 and 7.
I think the last actually good child actor that we've seen was in Jumanji.
Yes.
Kristen Dunst and that other
The boy.
Which we've seen Kristen Dunst in so many movies that we've
She was
done.
in the last one, too.
Yeah, she was in Hidden Figures.
Yeah.
She was the mean manager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't need a picture. Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Anyway.
Maybe we should keep a Kristen Dunst counter.
I think we should, because, I mean, she was in Jumanji, she was in Anastasia, she was,
I forgot that. Yep, keep going.
what was the other one? She did something.
Is this just the Christian Dunst podcast?
Jesus
Hey
Christ.
guys, welcome back to Why Should I Christian Dunst That?
She's in Hidden Figures. There was another one that we did.
Instead of Where's Waldo, Where's Christian? Anyways,
Wait, so maybe she's just been in a couple of the movies we've talked about.
she'll probably show up again.
Dude, we have to do an interview with the vampire, because that one, she does an amazing job. The book is really weird.
The movie's really weird. They do better in the movie.
Anyways, they would have been such a more interesting plot line of their struggles and romantic dynamic.
I agree.
You know, they are two successful professionals married in New York brownstone with two small kids, but they obviously have some real issues, and it would have been so much more interesting than watching this reporter be like, yes, I'm a reporter with Wanderlust, and this museum creator having an identity crisis over her dead mom, which is fair. Most people do go through an identity crisis after the death of a parent.
That doesn't mean we want to watch it for an hour.
It was almost 2 hours.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
I'm not hating on her. It's just I think they didn't give the main characters enough depth. They could have given them a lot more depth that they did not give them.
They just didn't have personality, really.
Yes, they seemed really one-toned.
The one scene that you actually see a pretty decent amount of, like, character in them, or personality, is when they meet at that one party. And the dude is, like, kind of cracking jokes about how, like, well, you know, he was gonna ask her out for a drink, but it didn't sound this corny in his head. Like, yeah, that scene had so much character in it, and it's absolutely upsetting that it didn't bleed into the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that scene and the immediate scene that follows, where they're like kind of awkward, because I really liked that. It was an awkward first date, and they're like, this isn't a date, unless.
Yeah, in if they would have continued that awkward personality, or not even awkward, but shown more of their personalities, because it felt like their personality went from, you start seeing it sort of be interesting, and then it gets, especially with her, it got really one melatonin.
Yeah,
like
one
level personality. You could guess her next move right away. It just did. And with him, the same. It's like when you did get that moment when he's with his family, and you start seeing more of that playfulness and personality with him, but the instant he leaves his family, he's again this one-tone personality, and it takes away from the film.
It's Schrodinger's character. He has character and doesn't at the same time.
Yeah.
He's a cookie cutter and also outside of the coloring box, depending on what scene you look at.
Right. And I would have really loved to see more of the... that's another theme that I forgot to mention. Who are you once you enter a romantic relationship? Because there's you outside of a romantic relationship, and then there's you with your partner, and then there's you as a couple. And, like...
I think the friend really touched on this, though, because
I love that line.
Because she's like, you know, she's talking about the fact that our main character, May, is talking about the fact that, you know, she should have told him he left, and the other
to stay
or whatever. And the friend's talking about that she's dating, I guess, the guy's friend?
The plucky side character.
Yeah. And she's like, I like who I am with him. And the friend says, you shouldn't need to change for someone else. Or May says, you shouldn't need to change for who...
It's something along the lines of you like who you are, like, you're changing for a guy. You're changing your personality to be with a guy. And she's like, well, being bitter and closed off is comfortable. It's easy. And maybe I like this new person that I am with him. Is that so bad? And there's a line at the end of the film delivered by a younger mom. And she and this really sums up there's these great beats in the movie.
There's a lot of good one-liners.
That the movie doesn't follow through with. It's like they had these great concepts and then just forgot to write the rest of the film. Because the mom at the very end says, I wish I had put as much devotion or, like, intensity into being a mother as I had into my work.
Which, you know, sometimes when you feel like that, like your parents didn't put enough attention to you, and that's not shots fired to our parents or anything, because some parents, you know, sometimes they do, or at least my mom has admitted that she wasn't always there.
Your family's so healthy.
I'm sorry, I don't try to rub it in, but...
No!
I'm sorry, back on topic.
So, her having this understanding that her mom is admitting that she could wish she could have been a better mother, even though she didn't have that conversation with her, I think even getting it now as an adult, for her probably getting that understanding of her mother really probably affected her later on.
I think it provided an element of closure that May desperately needed.
Yeah.
I would have really liked to see more scenes of her and her biological father actually getting to know each other.
Yes.
Because in the film, you have May show up on her doorstep, his doorstep, and he's like, hi, who are you? Strange lady who looks very distinctly not from around here. And she's like, hi, I'm your...
She doesn't even say, I'm your daughter. She says,
former lover's daughter. And he goes...
She picks the weirdest wording to say that sentence.
And he goes, alright, is she here with you? And she goes, well, no, she's dead. And he goes, oh. But he straight up is like, oh, let's have some lemonade in my house. You're my daughter. And he has this rueful moment of, I should have asked her, but I was too afraid. I didn't know how to handle that. And that's it. That's all the scenes we get with them. 'Cause Michael goes back to his house to get another interview, and he sees May there, and he's like, well, what are you doing here? And she goes, well, this is my father's house. And he goes, what? And it shows a whole nother level of miscommunication between the two of them.
Yeah, and you know, this kind of plays into... Last week, I specifically said I don't like it when people use miscommunication as a plot point, and I'm standing by that. However, when done correctly, at least it feels like a story.
Yeah.
This just kind of felt like two strangers awkwardly trying to figure out what's going on in each other's lives and refusing to talk about it. Which doesn't... It's different from, like, having an emotional turmoil leading up to not sharing those emotions. It's literally just It's like how you can say a lie by
Omission.
It's literally a lie by omission
Yeah.
in like communication style. And I don't know if this is a cishet thing or whatever, but like it is not vibe.
Basically, honestly, I don't like their dynamic after they have sex. Does that make sense? Because, like, they're kind of cute. They're a little awkward, you know, fumbling around each other. And then the storm happens. They have sex for the first time. And, like, all of a sudden they don't really have an interest in each other anymore.
Yeah, I get you. It kind of feels like they're pushing themselves together to further the plot, not to further the relationship.
Yeah. And it didn't vibe for me. That whole element. And then she follows him to London after all that. He's all like, oh, I've hid my past relationships from you and I'm being avoidant about it because I'm, for whatever reason, ashamed of it. And it's not even clear why he's ashamed of it. Like,
He just is.
They allude that maybe he was gonna propose to the girl before they broke up, but they at best allude to it. Like, the brother makes some comment about it, and the nieces make some comment about it. But that's really all we get. We don't understand why he's so...
Yeah, he exhibits as a character, not as an actor. The actor did great. He exhibits as a character a level of trauma that the viewer has not necessarily seen to back up his actions, and
Yes.
that makes a dissonance between what we are seeing and what the director wants and what the writers want us to see. So that is my main complaint with his, actions, I guess you could say. And really, I feel like the entire movie kind of sold itself short by kind of relying on those kinds of things. We did see online that it was based off of inspired by a true story, and I would really like to have seen a movie that stuck to it more, whatever it may be. We didn't really see what it was, but we just know that it was a inspiration. So I would have really liked to see what that true story maybe had going for it, because it feels like had they stuck a little more to reality and tried a little less to emulate Hallmark, we might have gotten an entirely different story. And I'll say this too, if they were specifically trying to get a Hallmark style movie, they'd hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah.
Like, would I watch Hallmark ever? No. Would I prefer to watch this movie over literally anything they have on their channel? I mean, probably. It was a lot more chill. It had a lot less dumb white ladies.
Yeah, I had
and
to...
I'm sorry, when they are dumb, it hurts. At least the women in this fucking story had, like, a brain.
Yeah. Because, like, I had to watch a week of Hallmark when one of my aunts had a stroke and I had to go take care of her. And that's all she watched.
Yeah.
And at least, these women aren't intentionally self-destructive with their lives. They don't just yeet themselves out of a career.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, I really like that they had all their characters, like, have some kind of passion, and more or less stuck to it throughout the entire film.
Yeah. I mean, like, for what it was a very well-constructed story. I will say that. I definitely would have... I feel like this movie would have been a lot better constructed as a novel rather than a movie. I feel like there would have been a lot of flavor and internal monologue that we just don't get as film.
Yeah.
Someone once described novels and film as fundamentally opposing mediums, and I agree with that sentiment. Like, the details you include to make a novel good are details you have to exclude to make a movie good.
Exactly.
And I think the internal monologues between May and her mother would have been a lot more interesting had they been written out, or at least there for us to see. I don't know. That's what I gotta say.
That's fair. I'm actually not going to do this right now because we're going to get distracted further. We're already distracted.
So,
all right, we kind of lost ourselves a little bit, but we're back.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm sorry, this is all my fault.
No, it's fine. Unfortunately, this is kind of not necessarily our typical wheelhouse. We usually kind of go for stuff that has a little bit more, like, things to talk about.
Yeah, because it really didn't have much to talk about.
Yeah, with this, really the only things that we can say are, like, mild narrative issues, because there's not a source material to pull from. There's not a lore to look into. It's just some people living their lives, and really the main thing that sticks out is that the script is clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I said this earlier. I really did like the cinematography that they did.
Yes.
The one thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, during the storm, it kind of felt like you couldn't tell where they were as far as geographically. Like, it kind of just looked like a storm rather than a hurricane, as someone who has lived through multiple. It kind of looked like a really bad storm. And I know that hurricanes technically are, but you would, especially if you're smart and live somewhere where there's always hurricanes, you board up your windows, you've got some, rations ready to go.
They are supposed to be in New York.
That's fine. Either way, if you, like, when you are, especially with a nice house, you always prep, because looters happen. When the security systems are down, the looters happen.
New Yorkers aren't that smart.
Okay, well, no. Anyway, Sam aside, it was hard to tell, like, for real. Even outside of that, it was hard to tell where they exactly were meaning to be. I know that they tell you, like, in, like, narratively, but if you kind of space out, and come back in, you kind of are trying to figure out, wait a minute, is this the Louisiana plot story or the New York plot story? Where are we? I know these people, but, like, what's going on? And, but aside from that, they did a lot of work in the foreground for almost every shot. The outfits that they used for casting and, recording, none of them were necessarily outlandish.
I really liked the general fashion that they gave to the characters, because
they seemed like real people.
They seemed like real people. They seemed appropriate for their demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
like their age and stuff.
Their age, their lifestyle,
their professions.
I like that they let the actor have a tattoo.
Did they?
Yeah, he had a little band right here.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
It's something that's so small, but we were talking about this earlier. Most of, like, the younger people in the workforce nowadays have tattoos, and just that small piece kind of cements him as a real person subconsciously. Because even if you don't necessarily notice, you've seen so many people with similar stuff, your brain just goes, a person! And you don't really register actor at first visually. Which, again, is why I think it kind of sucks that they did the script the way that they did.
Yeah. Apparently it was inspired by the main writer's grandmother.
Oh. Okay. And hey, more power to you, dude. This is not... I don't say these things to attack at all.
No.
It's just how I feel.
The clunkiness of the film undermined the narrative power and points that the writer was trying to make. And I felt like it could have been a very good film. But it missed the mark in several points.
And honestly, I don't know if it's acting or screenplay.
I would say,
because, like I said, there's points where you see this personality come out of a person, and then you're all of a sudden monotone. Thank you. So it's like, was it acting or was it the screenplay? Because I mean, the actors can only do what they're told.
Yeah.
What they're told.
What's in there in the script.
Yeah. So was it acting or was it
direction?
I couldn't tell you.
And that's I think that was my only issue with the film is that it felt very monotone.
And
Which is fair.
It could have been so interesting because I'm sorry. It could have been so interesting because the way they set it up is the mother kind of leaves a scavenger hunt for the daughter. And I mean, I know that's been done before, you know.
I
It
wouldn't
didn't
even
really
say
read as a scavenger
No,
hunt,
it
though.
felt-
Like, you're not wrong, but like in retrospect or when watching, it didn't feel like a scavenger hunt. It felt like following out her last acts.
So the way it felt to me, it wasn't so much she left a scavenger hunt. That's how the daughter read it.
Okay.
Because she left her a letter telling her what happened till the last point when she saw her father for the last time. So she pretty much wrote a letter, and she even specifies when she talks to her adoptive father. We'll go with adoptive father.
Sure.
Or stepfather. I don't know.
Her emotional father?
Her
The man who raised
the man
her?
who raised her.
The man who
Her
raised
dad.
her. Her dad. When she's talking with her dad, she specifically says that she opened the letter that her mother gave her. She started reading the first couple of letters. That's when we get the official first flashback. But she couldn't finish it, so she put it away. And then we see her, and every time she reads the letters, every time we're getting a flashback, which, I mean, it makes it feel like a scavenger hunt, but it's the way she's attempting to read this letter.
I will.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I will say this. She doesn't really read like a woman in grief.
That's fair. And I feel like she doesn't feel like a woman in grief, and I also feel like it would have been really interesting for them to have taken on the the mother narrative from a scavenger point of view, because we know in merging these two topics, we know that as a character she has some complicated feelings with her mom. It would have been interesting to see her be able to get to know her mom as she puts this puzzle together and really come to terms with who she lost, the parts of her life that she never got to hear firsthand from her. It feels like in kind of in putting more effort into like spreading out the like, hey, let me teach you about like where I went in my life and who I used to know and who you're going to know soon and the mistakes, all of that stuff, in stretching that out in more of an Easter egg sort of fashion. It would have given her the opportunity to like really start to connect with someone that she could never connect with again. And I feel like that could have brought out more grief as the movie went on.
Yeah, I would have liked to see her kind of break down at some point.
Yeah.
Because
and we're not necessarily like a huge like public thing. Break down private, something,
or even just one tear.
Yeah,
just one tear.
Something to show that she really does miss her.
I mean, I feel like based on how they've described her relationship with her mom, and then like the absentee mother element that they have described, and this tender emotion that she's getting in this letter, I feel like during the storm would have been a really good point for her to have this angry outburst, this outburst of angry grief of like, why couldn't she just tell me this herself? Like,
it would have been a really good point to start the 5 stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they really didn't show any stages of grief. She was just...
Or maybe kick off a next stage, because if anything, it kind of feels like denial through and through.
Yeah, she feels like she's in denial for most of the film.
She never gets to a point where she's accepting the death. She's more just, I have been told this has happened and I'm telling others.
I mean, yeah, but I would have liked, that dramatic one tear that they do in films. Even when she's hearing her mom's interview.
And, I've heard from friends and, like on the internet and stuff, that in Black American culture, maybe even just in, like, people of color culture in general, I'm not sure, but I know in Black culture specifically, there is a sort of celebration of life that happens that's a lot more than what non-people of color do. Like, at funerals, you'll see, like, dancing and kind of upbeat almost in a celebration of the person.
That
Whereas,
also happens a lot in New Orleans.
Yes.
And Louisiana really, that is a major thing in their culture.
And I think I actually might be getting this information from, what's her name? Ask a Mortician on YouTube. I watch a lot of her videos. But it's a very common practice, if memory is serving correctly, to really celebrate first. And that might have even been something to tie in at the end, having some kind of celebration for her, you know?
Yeah.
Culturally. But that might not be an everyone thing, so it might be equally valid for them to not have it. I don't know.
And again, I know this is a cultural thing in Louisiana, and especially
She's from Louisiana.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I
I
would
forgot
have
about that.
I would have liked to see some tie-in to that, because that is a culture, especially in New Orleans, where you celebrate someone's death. I mean, you have a huge parade.
I feel like I'm sorry, one last thing. I feel like the only thing we saw of New Orleans, quote unquote, was her dad and his obsession with lobster.
Crab.
I'm so sorry, crab. It's the same sea cockroach. I said what I said. I do not like them. They are gross and weird.
They haven't really changed evolutionary since, like...
Evolutionarily?
Haven't
I'm aware.
since...
It doesn't matter, they're gross. Also, did you know that they used to be considered the poor man's food until someone said, just kidding, I'm going to charge you $50 for this and you're going to like it. And everyone went, okay.
Sure.
Isn't that lobster?
It was lobster and crab, both of them. They're
They're bottom dwellers, so that's considered...
It's crab.
crawfish.
Yeah.
Crawfish are just smaller.
Oh, I love me some
They're
crawfish.
equally common, is what I mean.
I love me some crawfish.
Anyway, go ahead. It's just weird that we didn't see any other parts of Louisiana.
And Louisiana's a beautiful state.
Yeah, it's a beautiful city. It's got tons
New
of
Orleans
culture.
is a beautiful city. Louisiana itself is a beautiful state. And I mean, the way they're talking about it, the area that she grew up is just outside of New Orleans, because they did talk about Katrina. They did talk about a lot of the things that happened specifically to New Orleans, but we all know it hit all of Louisiana. At least the most southern part of Louisiana got hurt. And the fact that this is going back to that area has a lot of
culture,
beautiful,
history.
colorful culture too. It has and especially celebrating death is one of their major things. What they do.
It felt like it felt like a major disconnect.
Yeah.
From what the plot was telling us
And
to
what
the
we
actual
saw.
and what we saw.
Yeah, and I mean, I would definitely say that's something that it would need to be fixed. But as far as the film goes, it wasn't
terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
All right,
How are we feeling on
I'm done.
close-ups?
I don't.
I was done 48 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's mostly been my stomach that's fucked us and made us
Oh no,
longer.
no. What I mean is, I was done 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
There's not much to say. I didn't like it as a viewer.
Okay.
we
I'm
rambled
over
a
it.
lot.
It's cuttable. It's fine.
Okay.
No, but also I kept walking out of the room for...
Yeah, but we were trying to keep it going to
Okay.
put more out there.
All right, so are the courts in session?
I don't know. Did you hear a knock? All right. So real quick, there is no fandom. I didn't see shit.
I didn't
No.
see shit.
Like, I really didn't even, personally, I hadn't heard of this movie, and I tried to look into some stuff, and aside from some people going, yeah, I kind of liked it, or, hey, I went and saw this movie, there's nothing.
The only reason I heard of this movie, to be honest, was because there were 12 billboards about it on my way to work.
Eventually, we will get to a fucking show that has an actually interesting fandom to talk about, and I'm still counting down the days, y'all.
We're getting there, though. We're getting there.
Well,
Next week's episode.
Next week,
I forgot what we were watching next week.
week's episode might actually have something worth talking about.
Oh, next week's... Wait for the clue.
Wait for the clue.
We'll actually do a clue next week.
I will give you that was my fault. Sam and I switched jobs this week, and Sam did last week, and Sam did real fucking good, and I spaced. I space headed so bad. I don't know where I was, but it wasn't here, and it wasn't posting stuff.
I saw that nothing had been posted on the socials Friday day.
Yeah, that was entirely 10,000% my bad. I did not have a good week mentally and just fucking whiffed.
I think it was a non-good mental week for everybody.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Sam.
It's okay.
If we ever switch again, I swear I'll do better. Okay. Or at the very least, we'll remember to communicate that I'm not doing better. Yes.
That happened.
But yeah, fandom gets a did not show up for class rating. Sorry, dude. Oh, I'll give you one bonus hint for next week. The fandom is very into found family. And that's all I'm going to tell you.
That could be anyone.
It might help. I'll explain. Okay.
That's every queer... That's it.
Oh. Okay.
Myra went, oh.
Took me a second.
See, I'm giving you this one hint. So put it together with the clue at the end. See, it's not by itself.
Okay.
It's a bonus hint. I can cut it out if you want.
No, you're good.
Okay.
But yes, I agree.
I'm just giving you a
Fandom
hard
was
time.
not there.
I didn't show up for class.
I didn't.
Nope.
I didn't find any fanfics. I didn't find any fan art. Nothing. I mean,
Nothing.
you would think sometimes there's random people that do like remake the poster,
I didn't even see that.
and I didn't see that. So I would agree with Jade. The fandom did not show up for class. You failed because you weren't here.
You failed by omission. Not even by doing bad. You just weren't here.
You missed 6 days of class, and therefore you failed the class.
Yeah,
Is that how many classes you have to miss now?
Mm-hmm.
Depending.
At KSU.
That's so many more
Well,
than
no,
the
depending on if you're on 2 days, what's it called? When you do half online hybrid, or if you're on 1 day a week classes. 1 day a week classes, you only have to miss 2.
That's what I had to miss. So, okay.
Yeah.
Although it was great because my psychology class, I would show up, sign in, and leave.
There you go.
My teacher never... I passed on my test, especially because the whole time she was talking about smoking weed, but...
So we're almost done. All right.
Psychology 101.
So, final thoughts and ranks. How are we doing?
Look, I'll start because I'm the simp. I am the person... We've read me to filth.
This is your fault.
No. Yes, it's my fault. But you guys have read me to filth. You guys know
Yes,
I
yes.
love a good romance. I love a good, I am that person that will sit down and watch. When I tell you, me, the person in this room who will sit down and watch a good romance movie just because I can.
Mm-hmm.
I forcefully made my friends watch Bridgerton.
That was at least fun to rip apart.
Yeah. Yeah. This okay. My issue with this one, there wasn't even really anything to rip apart.
Exactly.
It was like getting handed fried
Lukewarm,
tofu.
yeah.
It's just there's nothing, no seasoning, no nothing, just warmed tofu. It's like okay.
A cup of lukewarm coffee.
Yeah, no, like I'm the person that would love a good romance movie, and I kid you not, I could not sit through this movie again. I couldn't. It's a good movie. I wouldn't call it a good romance movie though, cuz I don't feel like the romance was there. I don't feel like it was a good love story. It was just a good film to show everyday people sort of getting together. So I would not call it I personally would not watch it again. If you want to see a good film about two people getting together, I wouldn't even say getting to know each other because they really didn't. They didn't even take time to really try to get to know each other. If you want good background characters, then yeah.
Oh yeah.
Watch this film. But personally, I would not watch it again.
I feel like this film had a lot of potential. I really liked I really liked the narrative structure that it could have had. The two storylines and who we are outside of our parents versus who we are with our romantic partners versus who we are individually could have been a really interesting exploration of the individual. It didn't hit the mark. It fell flat. I am very picky about my romance films. I tend to like more things going on than just romance. I tend to like more.
This is coming from the girl that watched the Christmas Prince, every single one from Netflix. Okay,
Myra.
I'm sorry, the what?
It's really cheesy.
It's a really cheesy romance movie.
It's bad.
Move on. I don't have time for this.
You can bring me to filth after the podcast.
I will.
Anyway, it was boring. It's the kind of movie I would put on to have background noise while I worked on something else. I would never watch it again. Even then, I wouldn't watch it again. It's not. It's
not on my to-go-to list.
It's a movie with not anything technically wrong with it, but meh. It's a meh from me.
Hi. We meet again. Oh, romance category. You have not swayed me yet. You will probably continue to not sway me. I would not watch this movie ever again under duress or otherwise. I cannot. I barely watched it the first time, and that is not a shot at anyone involved. This is just so not up my alley. I physically could not get my brain to cooperate. I could not ever watch this again. So I am going to give it a no, comma, unless you are a really big sappy romance person. If that is up your if that is right up your alley, you might like it, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and say that the movie was absolute like trash.
No, it was not trash.
It was back to the pie shit, okay? I really liked me a slice of, I don't know, apple pie. And this was key lime with extra lime and a gluten-free crust and with gelatin. And what? What did you do?
You did what to that pie?
So it's not that this pie is bad. There are people out there who are going to like that pie. I am just the furthest from it. So I am going to give it a no unless you are a huge fan of just romance. Not even rom-com, not slow burn. Just if you just like watching people slowly fall in love throughout about 2 hours. Don't look at me like that.
I wouldn't even say they really fell in love. Fell in like.
Yeah.
That's my judgment. No unless. All right.
I would agree with you. I say no to this movie. And again, this is coming from someone who has watched more romance movies than anybody in this room, probably.
I mean, probably both.
Yeah, and
I don't read romance.
I do. But
Miss 50 Shades of Grey, Polish, set in Sicily. Whatever.
Look, 365 Days is a good movie and good book.
What the fuck is that?
I'm never forcing you guys to watch it because 15 minutes of that is on Pornhub.
Oh my god. Yo.
At least it's only 15 minutes rather than a whole episode.
Looking at you, Bridgerton.
Alright, so final thoughts. No unless?
No, unless you like everyday life.
Cool.
Yeah, no. You know, by now you know what brand I like.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
3, 2.
I'm still so shook that it always works.
It hasn't not worked yet. I was worried that it wouldn't for a sec, because Myra's counted like slightly off this time, but our brains went, ha!
Alright, so this has been the judging round. We have judged. it's essentially a no unless all around, or just a flat out no, depending on who you listen to. Sorry. It's fine. If you really liked this movie, again, we're not coming for you. We're just kind of saying our piece. And all the love and respect to everyone who worked on the movie. Again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. There's just not a lot there. So,
yeah, this is coming from a group who mostly watches some variety of either action, anime, or sci-fi, fantasy. That's...
I mean, I watch a little bit of everything. Really?
I mean, yes, you are the exception to the trio. Okay.
No,
Okay.
but I mean, it's a good exception. But I'm saying even I didn't like it. That's saying something.
We're trying to be nice to the viewers.
I know.
I love my damaged boy.
also the fact that it dries in little crispy bits.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I've been waiting until the fucking show's over and y'all keep delaying!
Sorry. So, last is we've had our snacks.
We've said our facts.
We told you, if you should watch that, you shouldn't.
See you next week!
Try them on. I made them completely sound absorbent.
Interesting.
Guess what I call them? Sneakers. Because you